Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. We got a whole lot of information for you today, and it's brought to you by Pink Rose and the spoiler team at Venmo.com. Thank them so much because we are about to break down the reported cast for the Challenge All-Stars Season 2. We are getting our second OG season, and we're going to look at the potential cast. And Pink Rose and the people at Venmo.com make it important to notice that some of the people on this cast can be alternates. Some of these people on the cast, if they show up and test positive for COVID, they might get dropped for whatever reason. If they break COVID protocols, they could get dropped. And there are just certain cast members who we haven't seen in years, who are off the grid, who we aren't sure might be on the cast. So stay updated on Venmo.com. There's going to be a link to the site in the bio of this video. And let's get into it. We're going to start off with the guys. Kicking us off is Brad Fiorenza from the Real World San Diego, the OG one. We haven't seen Brad on the challenge since Final Reckoning. If you follow him on Twitter, his life has been all over the place. Him and his ex-Tory deal have been going through some drama. I don't want to get too much into it, but Brad is kind of a wild and crazy guy. I mean, he had that showman/hookup with Brittany Thornton on Vendettas. He's very competitive, great player, in great shape. Brad is good reality TV. Next up, we have Brandon Nelson from the Challenge Fresh Meat 2. He appeared on 5 seasons, Fresh Meat 2, Cutthroat, Free Agents, Battle of the Seasons of Rivals 1. And Brandon was always viewed as a cool guy who never really fit in with the it club of the Challenge, but he won a bunch of eliminations on Cutthroat and is beloved for that reason. I met him in Las Vegas, and he's just a very sweet guy. I told him, I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but he as a human being, I really dig. And we had a really good conversation. He's a nice guy. Really glad to see him getting another shot at this. He's also a new father. Had a couple kids in the last few years. Next up, we got Cohutta Grindstaff from the Real World Sydney. Appeared on 4 seasons. Free Agents, Battle of the Bloodlines, The Ruins, and The Island. I don't know why I went in reverse order, but I did. Cohutta is just a beloved challenger. I did a poll years ago about who's just someone that everyone loves. And Cohutta just has that 100% approval rating. He's a little bit bigger now than he used to on his old challenges, but just a very lovable guy and a great competitor. He was an alternate for last season, so hopefully MTV makes things right and puts him on the cast for this season. Next, we have the runner-up of the previous Challenge All-Star season, and that is Darrell, the King Taylor from Road Rules Campus Crawl. He's done 8 or 9 seasons, 4-time champion, the only player in Challenge history to win 4 seasons in a row. He was beaten in the last final, though. It is important to note that. Next, we have one of the more underrated players in Challenge history, and that is Derrick Chavez from the Real World Cancun. He came in 4th place on Battle of the Seasons 2012. He also appeared on Rivals 2 and Cutthroat, and Derrick is a good athlete. I mean, he was a track star in high school. He's decently intelligent. And rewatch Battle of the Seasons. He was killing the daily challenges. He carried Jasmine on his back during one of their mini finals. He's a smaller guy, but is willing to put in that extra effort. I interviewed him a few years ago, and he put in so much detail into his answers because he really did love his experience on the challenge. And because of that, I'm so happy that he gets another shot on this show. Next up, we have Derrick Kosinski from Road Rules X-Treme. I wonder how that's going to affect the Challenge Mania podcast with a season coming up real soon. But Derrick, 3-time champion, one of the elimination kings of this show. Always glad to see Derrick. Latarian Wallace from Road Rules Maximum Velocity, and we saw him last season, of course, on Challenge All-Stars. He lost that elimination to Mark and Kendal, but then had that dominant pole wrestle win against Ace. Latarian, he's a good guy. He's an engineer. He's super intelligent. Works as a personal trainer. He's more built for the challenge in 2021 than he was back in 2004. Next up, we have Maxi MJ Garrett from the Real World Philadelphia. He won a challenge championship on the Gauntlet 2. He also appeared on the Duel 2 and the Gauntlet 3. He is a tall guy. He's 6'4", 6'5", played college football at Tennessee or Vanderbilt. I don't know if I'm getting them mixed up right now, but he's a big guy. We haven't seen him on the challenge in over a decade. Back when he was last on the challenge, he talked about his kids a lot and being a new dad. And it's been 13 years since then, so those kids are probably grown up now. Nehemiah from the Real World Austin, and Nehemiah had a big impact on last season. He lost that elimination to Big Easy, where if he had run the final, I think he had a decent shot at coming in the top 3 for the males at least. Good swimmer, good with puzzles, good shape. Just lost that last elimination to Big Easy out of nowhere. Next, we got Ryan Kehoe from Fresh Meat 1. He appeared on an additional 5 or 6 seasons. He made it to the final of the Island 1, 5th place on Fresh Meat 2. Really good social player. Won a couple eliminations back in his day. Again, like Cohutta, he was an alternate for Challenge All-Stars 1. He had a lot of friendships throughout this show. I'm kind of excited to see Ryan. Not really sure. Next, we have Steve Mankey. Oh, wow. From Road Rules The Quest. Wow. Oh, wow. We haven't seen this guy in a long time. Steve's entire run on the challenge was only 6 episodes, and thus it is surprising to see him on this cast. Then again, Gisella's previous run on the challenge was in total 9 episodes, and she went on to be one of the biggest characters on Challenge All-Stars Season 1. So maybe Steve will be a good addition. I did some research, and he works in advertising now, and he spent many years working as a hand model as well. So the guy has some really pretty hands. Good for him. We got the OG Cyrus Yarbrough from the Real World Boston. Cyrus was, of course, on last season of Challenge All-Stars. He got injured, then lost that elimination to Alton and Anissa, where it just really hurt to watch him compete as he was just physically struggling. One of the older competitors on the show, former champion as well. And then we have a fan favorite from Challenge All-Stars Season 1 from the Real World Hawaii. We got Tech Holmes, Tech Money. Just one of the most charismatic people on the show. He just has a good vibe to him. He's entertaining to watch. Maybe not the best competitor ever, but he's funny, he's honest, and he obviously liked doing the first season, so he's back for the second season. We got Tyler Duckworth, 2-time challenge champion, winner of Cutthroat and Rivals 1. I mean, he won what was at that point the hardest final in challenge history. He is a swimmer. I believe he's Ivy League educated, or maybe not. I don't know. He went to Tufts. I don't know. He's a smart guy, good competitor. We have not seen him in a decade now, so glad to see Tyler back. Switching over to the female side of the cast, we kick off with Casey Cooper from the Challenge Fresh Meat 1. And she was an alternate for last season. It devastated a lot of people, as she is a fan favorite for being the person who isn't that great at the challenge, but is just hilarious to watch. She was only 18 when she debuted about 15, 16 years ago. So she's still only 33, 34 right now. I know she's actually good friends with Kendal Sheppard. Plays a lot of Pokemon Go. Just a good person. I'm glad to see Casey back. We haven't seen her since The Ruins, all the way back on Season 18. Glad to see Casey Cooper back. Also, technically owns the record for the most elimination wins in a season with Wes and Sarah Grayson with 5 elimination wins. Emily Fitzpatrick from the Real World Cancun. We haven't seen her since Free Agents. She appeared on 2 seasons, Free Agents and Cutthroat, and lasted a combined 3 episodes. She did date a lot of people from the franchise as a whole, especially after her Real World Cancun season. She's been an alternate on a lot of seasons, most recently Invasion of the Champions. Emily's not a good competitor. That's what she's kind of known for. She might be a little bit wild, a little bit good for the drama aspect, but based on her history on the show, she should not last that long. And also, considering that some people on this list might be alternates, and Emily has a long history as an alternate, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets left off the cast. Also from the Real World Cancun, we have Jasmine Reynaud. She has had 2 or 3 kids since then. We last saw her on Free Agents. Jasmine did 5 seasons in a row, was a really big character on the show for those 5 seasons. Got into a lot of drama, a lot of hookups. Just a fun personality to watch. I'm glad we might get Jasmine back. Next up, we got Janelle Casanave. Until recently, Janelle was the last African-American female winner of the challenge. She won her first season, the Inferno 3, came back for the Gauntlet 3, and was an early exit on that season, originally from the Real World Key West. Janelle is gorgeous. She still looks to be fantastic. Really, really dynamic personality. We haven't seen Janelle in forever, so I'm excited to see her. And we have a 2-time challenge champion. One of the best females to ever compete on the challenge. One of the best individual wins in challenge history. Champion of the Duel 1. Champion of Gauntlet 2. Jodi Weatherton from the Road Rules X-Treme. Jodi was just, I mean, she was Jenny West before Jenny West, like 20 seasons earlier. Great swimmer, great athlete, everything about her, she was just dominant in. And it's funny because people like to bring down her win. It's like, oh, the people she was playing against wasn't that good. Well, yeah, they weren't that good, but Jodi dominated them. She made it a point that she was a clear level above them. Apparently, when she was filming the Duel 1, she told them, hey, I'm done with the challenges. I'm moving on with my life. Don't call me again. And then they never did. But they had this All-Star show. She's definitely interested. And I gotta say, Jodi racked up a ton of hookups back in the day. She had Derrick, Evan, Mark, Alton, Adam Larson. Jodi liked to hook up. She's good for drama. I mean, and a good competitor. You gotta love to see her back. Next up is our third Real World Cancun female, and that is Miss Jonna Mannion, technically tied for the highest finishing female on the Challenge All-Stars 1 final. Jonna's had 2 kids, has had a family, is married now. She did 5 seasons originally, and a lot of people have a connection to Jonna as they've been watching her since she was 12, 13 years old on the original competition show Endurance. I love Jonna. She just has a good vibe to her. I like her presence on the show. Really glad to see her back again. Ooh, we got the pop-off queen, the OG pop-off queen, and that is Miss Katie Doyle from Road Rules The Quest. We saw her fight with Trishelle last season. She still can throw the fastball when it comes to verbal altercations. As a competitor, she had a good elimination with Kendal where she took a round away from her. She is a former challenge champion, has put up multiple elimination wins in the past, but that's not why you watch Katie. You watch Katie for her personality, and she has one of the best. Also, great smile. Kendal Sheppard from Road Rules Campus Crawl. She's actually done more spin-offs now than she did original seasons of the challenge. She is a one-time challenge champion, and as you saw in All-Stars last season, was maybe the best all-around female competitor in terms of puzzles, physicality, just being in shape. She is a yoga, freak. I mean, she does so much yoga and she keeps herself in shape. She's so fit. Kendal loves to physically compete, and I'm glad to see her on this second season. And ooh, a blast from the past. We have Leia Gillingwater from Real World Paris. She did CT season. I think she did 1 or 2 seasons of the challenge. I don't really have a scouting report on Leia. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's these are the people I'm happy to see, though. I mean, even in this photo, you can see the Free Britney t-shirt, which, again, if you're not supporting Britney Spears right now, you definitely should. Man, that's a real throwback. Next up, we got Melinda Stolp from the Real World Austin. She did Fresh Meat 1, Gauntlet 3, Cutthroat, Battle of the Seasons 2012, and she lost an elimination on every season. She's regarded as one of the worst female competitors ever, but I still love Melinda. She's really attractive, and she had a fun personality on her Real World season and on her challenge seasons when she wasn't attached to Danny Jamieson. When she did not have her ex-husband by her side, Melinda's great. She's fantastic, and her podcast is really beloved right now by a lot of people. They just joined the Challenge Mania network. I'm excited to see Melinda. She's a fun personality. Ooh, we got Shauvon Torres from the Real World Sydney. And, I mean, we all know the moment where Shauvon popped her implant on the ruins. It's one of the most historic challenge moments ever. We know about her hookup on the ruins with CT that happened right before CT tried to murder Adam. She came back for Cutthroat, quit that season as well. She did 3 seasons of the challenge, was not a good competitor. Is definitely regarded as one of the worst competitors in challenge history, but she had a bubbly personality. She loved being on reality TV. I'm not surprised to see her on here. And the big shocker, I think the one that shocked everyone, is the person who, whenever casting rumors come out for any season of the challenge, they'll have like, oh, this person accepted the call, this person declined the call, and immediately they have Svetlana Shusterman is having declined the call for the last 25 seasons of the challenge. She appeared on the Duel 1. She had multiple elimination wins, went to the final, came in second place, was viewed as one of the hottest girls in challenge history, and just had this really good underdog spirit to her as a competitor. A lot has gone on in her life since. She's had some maybe legal problems, some life problems, but man, Svetlana is back, and that's the scoop that everyone has been waiting for. I mean, oh man, she's been invited to do so many seasons over the years and has just always declined, and yet at this point in her life, she's finally said yes. Hell has frozen over. I don't know how I feel about this cast as a whole, but just seeing Svetlana on it has immediately piqued my interest, and I'm tuning in no matter what, just to see her. And then we have Sophia Pasqui from Road Rules The Quest. She made it to the final Battle of the Sexes 2, and that's like one of the hardest finals to make it to because there's 18 players and only 3 spots for the final. Was a good puzzle competitor, LGBT representation. She was an alternate last season. I'm really glad to see Sophia maybe get a second chance at the show. And then Ruthie Alcaide, who had a good showing all around last season, had some good daily challenge performances. I believe she was the 3rd place female in that final last season, maybe 4th. Ruthie has a good vibe to her. I mean, not as good of a competitor these days as she was back in the day, but Ruthie, she's still a legend from the Real World Hawaii. Now, let's do a quick review back of what this speculated cast is. And again, thank you to Pink Rose and the spoiler team at Venmo.com for collecting all these spoilers for us, because we are passionate fans who want to know about our favorite show. Remember though, some people might get dropped, some people might get added. Stay updated on Venmo.com. So on the cast, we have Ruthie Alcaide from the Real World Hawaii, Sophia Pasqui from Road Rules The Quest, Svetlana Shusterman from Real World Key West, Shauvon Torres from the Real World Sydney, Melinda Stolp, Real World Austin, Leah Gillingwater from the Real World Paris, Kendal Sheppard, Road Rules Campus Crawl, Katie Doyle, Road Rules The Quest, Johnny Mannion, Real World Cancun, Jodi Weatherton, Road Rules X-Treme, Janelle Casanave from Real World Key West, Jasmine Reynaud from Real World Cancun, Emily Fitzpatrick, Real World Cancun, Casey Cooper, Fresh Meat 1, Tyler Duckworth, Real World Key West, Tech Holmes from Real World Hawaii, Cyrus Yarbrough from the Real World Boston, Steve Mankey from Road Rules The Quest, Ryan Kehoe, Fresh Meat 1, Nehemiah Clark, Real World Austin, MJ Garrett, Real World Philadelphia, Latarian Wallace, Road Rules Maximum Velocity, Derrick Kosinski, Road Rules Extreme, Derrick Chavez, Real World Cancun, Darrell Taylor, Road Rules Campus Crawl, Cohutta Grindstaff, Real World Sydney, Brandon Nelson, Fresh Meat 2, Brad Fiorenza, Real World San Diego, and that is your cast. And remember, people might get added, people might get dropped, people might be alternates. So stay updated on the Venmo.com. There will be the link at the bottom. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay updated on the channel for Challenge Season 37 coverage, for Challenge All-Star Season 2 coverage. We aren't going to be revealing any elimination spoilers, anything like that. We're only going to be breaking down what happens on the actual show. There might be another casting update video in the next week or two, but other than that, just get excited because we're going to get a lot of good challenge content coming at us pretty soon.